reason why, they're kind of avoiding me. But, at the end of the day, if he does vacate his belt, he's just going to show everybody how afraid he is of me,
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, two-time undefeated super middleweight world champion superstar boxer David Benavidez. He weighs in on Canelo Alvarez victory over WBC mandatory challenger Avni Yildirim, and it seemed like Avni Yildirim had no intentions of winning the fight. His body language said that he had no intentions of winning the fight. He just didn't come to win. He essentially quit in the third round. He was dropped in the third round. He refused to come out of his corner going into the fourth round. The first round, he threw a total of 15 punches the entire fight. In the first round, he threw little to no punches the entire fight. So he had no intentions of coming out and winning this fight. And you could hear his corner, his trainer, Joe Diaz, after the first round, he says, "Did this guy hurt you already? What happened? What's going on? Why you not letting your hands go? What happened to the game plan? What's going on?" And then in the third round, he got dropped by 1-2 from Canelo Alvarez. And then in the corner, you can hear Joe Diaz say, "If you don't want to be here, if you don't plan on fighting, if you don't show me something, I'm going to stop this fight going into the next round." And you can see Avni Yildirim, he looked at his corner, somebody in his corner, and he shook his head, the translator, and they told Joe Diaz he wasn't willing to come back out to the fourth round, okay? So David Benavidez, who lost his WBC title on the scales going into his fight, he lost his belt on the scales, and the WBC immediately held a conference to in which they stated that Canelo Alvarez petitioned to fight Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC title. And David Benavidez is saying that when I was the WBC champion, Canelo Alvarez, he reached out to every champion at 168 pounds, everybody but me. But as soon as I vacated the WBC title, he says that he has all interest in fighting for the belt, okay? So this just lets you know, Canelo Alvarez had no intentions of fighting David Benavidez. He don't like the style matchup. Canelo Alvarez is not looking forward to fighting guys that it's a 50-50 fight, okay? Now, he's looking forward now to becoming undisputed. And like David Benavidez is saying, now he's looking to become undisputed at 168. But he wasn't looking to become undisputed at 168 when I was a champion. Now, the table is set for him to become 168-pound undisputed first Mexican world champion to do that in the history of sport of boxing without including David Benavidez in the path. David Benavidez has never lost his belt in the ring. He's undefeated, okay? So he was considered the best super middleweight in the world between him and Caleb Plant. So now Canelo Alvarez, he saw the opportunity where David Benavidez hadn't had to be included in the equation to become undisputed in his road to becoming undisputed. And now they're going to dismiss David Benavidez, and he's not taking too kind of it, okay? So you heard what he said. He says he says he believes that Canelo Alvarez is going to fight Billy Joe Saunders May 8th, who's the WBO champion. He beat Caleb Smith already for the WBA, WBC titles. He defended his belts against Avni Yildirim in a lackluster fight. And now he's going to fight Billy Joe Saunders for the WBO. So 3 belts will be on the line May 8th. And then in September, he's looking to fight Caleb Plant for undisputed for the IBF. Caleb Plant is undefeated and IBF super middleweight world champion superstar boxer. So he's going to look to fight Caleb Plant in September for that IBF strap. And like David Benavidez is stating, it doesn't matter what the WBC says, because as soon as he becomes undisputed, he's going to say that he's accomplished what he needed to accomplish at 168 pounds, and he's going to look to move on from the division. And this is what David Benavidez had to say. He's going to tell you that he believes Canelo Alvarez is going to vacate the belt. He's never going to fight him because he don't like the style matchup. Let's listen to what he had to say.
I feel like Canelo isn't, if I win the mandatory like I am, I feel like Canelo, he's not going to give me the opportunity anyways. I feel like he's probably just going to vacate the title or do something like that. I would love to fight Canelo. I would love to show the world that I'm the best. But honestly, I don't think he's going to take the fight,
So you see, he says that he's going to vacate his belt. I don't believe he'll take the fight, right? And like I stated, when He had the opportunity, numerous occasions, to fight David Benavidez, who was the super middleweight world champion superstar boxer. He didn't take it, okay, which would be a huge fight for Mexican Independence Day weekend, second weekend in September, or Cinco de Mayo weekend. David Benavidez has been calling Canelo out for quite some time, and Canelo Alvarez refused to acknowledge him. Now he saw David Benavidez removed from the equation. He saw the perfect opportunity and road to becoming undisputed, like David Benavidez is stating. Okay, he never had interest in fighting me. Canelo Alvarez wants the path of least resistance, the path that's going to give him is going to be in his favor to win these fights. Okay, now there's still tough fights with Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant. There's still very tough fights, but you know, people see those as more winnable than they see him against David Benavidez. Now, all these fights are 50-50, but people give David Benavidez a far better chance standing at 6'3", having a 77-inch arm reach, having a beautiful jab, having power and knockout power. See, David Benavidez has more knockout power than both Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, and Caleb Smith, okay? So, and he has a longer reach than all of them. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's more relentless, and he's younger than all of these guys, okay? So he poses the biggest challenge out of all of these guys. And Canelo Alvarez and his team, as David Benavidez stated, he believes that they're looking at the equation and they're seeing and they're saying, well, you know, this is a bad style matchup. This is what David Benavidez had to say regarding the style. Here's David Benavidez talking about how Canelo Alvarez contacted every champion at 168 pounds but himself. Listen to what he had to say.
I don't know, man. I mean, he never mentioned my name. He talks about everybody else except for me, you know. But, you know, some people want to say that I'm desperate for the fight. I'm not desperate for the fight. I'm not desperate for no money. I'm desperate to show the world I am the best. I'm willing to fight whoever. You know, I'll fight Berlanga. I'll fight Charlo. I'll fight Caleb Plant. I'll fight Canelo. You know, I just want to show the world I'm the best. I just want the opportunity to show the world I'm the best.
So you see, he said that Canelo Alvarez, he never mentions my name. He mentions everybody else's name except mine. So he's saying that I don't want to come off as, you know, I'm bitter in a sense. I just want to prove that I'm the best. And if people consider him the face of boxing, the pound for pound best, then I want to fight him. And if he's going to come in my division and I'm considered the best in my division and I lost my belt on the scale, there was no talk about me fighting Canelo prior to me losing the belt on the scale. Okay. Nobody knew what path Canelo Alvarez was going to take at that point in time until I lost my belt on the scale. Let's listen one more time. He's going to break down how Canelo Alvarez reached out to every champion and he's aware of everybody but him. Listen.
Before, when I had the WBC title, you know, we're never in talks to make the fight happen. You know, he never reached out to me. He reached out to every other champion besides me. And I feel like if he, you know, when he beats Billy Joe Sanders and then he goes and beat Caleb Plant, I feel like he's going to say that his work at super middleweight division was done. So, I mean, it doesn't matter to me if it's Canelo, if it's Caleb Plant, if it's Charlo, you know, Ronald Ellis, whoever. My job is to beat whoever, and I am going to beat whoever it is.
So you heard him right there, right? He says, when I was the WBC champion, he reached out to every other champion but myself. Listen to it again.
Before, when I had the WBC title, you know, we're never in talks to make the fight happen. You know, he never reached out to me. He reached out to every other champion besides me. And I feel like if he, you know, when he beats Billy Joe Sanders and then he goes and beat Caleb Plant, I feel like he's going to say that his work at super middleweight division was done.
See? So he said, I feel like when he beats Billy Joe Saunders and he beats Caleb Plant in September, he's not going to give me my opportunity. He's going to say his work at super middleweight is done. I'm never going to get my opportunity.
That's the reason why, you know, they're kind of avoiding me. But, you know, at the end of the day, if he does vacate his belt, he's just going to show everybody how afraid he is of me, you know?
So you see what he said. He said, at the end of the day, if he vacates his belt, he's just going to show the people how much he's avoiding me, right? And this is all the fans and the boxing pundits and the media are calling for, to see Canelo Alvarez in with the best. What he did against Avni Yildirim, that fight, that should have never took place on this level. That was a C-class fight, okay? You had a C-class fighter in there with an A-class fighter at this level, in this stage. Although people are going to say, well, yeah, it was a quick turnaround, okay? It was a quick turnaround that Canelo Alvarez had, and they give him a pass for fighting Avni Yildirim. But how soon do people forget that as soon as David Benavidez lost his titles on the scale at the weigh-in, according to the WBC, sanctioned by the Mauricio Suleiman, the president of WBC, they held a vote, and 31 out of the 32 members on the board voted for Canelo Alvarez, who petitioned to fight Avni Yildirim for the vacant WBC title. Just happened so that Caleb Smith and Canelo Alvarez came to an agreement so they could fight for a unification bout where the WBC belt was on the line along with Caleb Smith's WBA title. Thus the reason why Canelo Alvarez is the unified champion after he beat Caleb Smith in a unanimous decision victory. So unfortunately, as David Benavidez stated, he don't believe that Canelo Alvarez will ever give him his opportunity to fight for the WBC title or to fight Canelo Alvarez, which at that point in time, because you had the WBC president, Mauricio Suleiman, he came out this week and he stated that after that Canelo Alvarez fight, they're going to reevaluate the process of choosing mandatory challengers, okay? So David Benavidez is going to fight Ronald Ellis March 13th. But with that said, the winner of Anthony Dirrell's last fight was supposed to fight David Benavidez to determine who was going to be the WBC mandatory challenger. Well, now we shouldn't have to go through that process, because as long as David Benavidez beats Ronald Ellis March 13th, he should automatically be the WBC mandatory challenger, seeing as though Anthony Dirrell's fight ended in a draw. So due to the fact that, as David Benavidez stated, he don't know what's going on because Anthony Dirrell's fight ended in a draw. So there was no winner, okay? So with that said, Anthony Dirrell fight with Kyron Davis ended in a draw. So there's no winner. So thus, David Benavidez fight with Ronald Ellis should determine who's the mandatory challenger, which David Benavidez is the heavy favorite. So he beats Ronald Ellis, he should be automatically the mandatory challenger. That means in December, Canelo Alvarez stated that he wants to fight 4 times this year. He just fought this Saturday, February 27th. He's going to fight May 8th. He's going to fight September 11th. And then he said he wanted to fight again in December. Well, that December fight should be his mandatory challenger in David Benavidez, who wins this fight against Ronald Ellis. It's only right. But just like I said, and David Benavidez, he reiterates what I've been saying, that once Canelo Alvarez, should he beat Caleb Plant and should he beat Billy Joe Saunders, he's going to vacate those belts instead of defending it against a WBC mandatory challenger, which would be the biggest fight of the year for Canelo Alvarez. Yes, it will have more implications, this the undisputed match with Caleb Plant, should he beat Billy Joe Saunders, because it's for undisputed. And it's never been an undisputed super middleweight champion in the history of sport of boxing, let alone an undisputed Mexican super middleweight champion. So that would be historic. But then to defend it in December against David Benavidez would be even bigger. It would be massive because it's still undisputed. And it gives David Benavidez, it's the biggest fight against the biggest name in 168 pounds. It would be massive. It would be a massive showdown, okay? So it only makes sense. But guess what? It represents a huge risk for Canelo Alvarez. So what is he going to do? Let's listen again.
You know, at the end of the day, if he does vacate his belt, he's just going to show everybody how afraid he is of me, you know?
So there you have it from David Benavidez. But we got a wild card in the equation. See, Canelo Alvarez is going to, like David Benavidez said, he's going to say his job at 168 pounds super middleweight is done. But then he's going to go to 175. If he go to 175, where he beat Sergey Kovalev for the WBO World Championship, made him a 4-division world champion. Well, guess what? There's talks and rumors that former retired pound-for-pound king, Hall of Famer, who ruled the 168-pound and 175-pound division, Andre S.O.G. Ward, will be making his ring return. And if he does, he's going to be looking to fight Canelo Alvarez. Also, you have Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol, who are considered the number 1 and number 2 175-pounders at 175. So, therefore, it's going to put Canelo Alvarez in a situation where he's going to have to choose David Benavidez or Artur Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, or maybe even Andre Ward. So let's see how this unfolds. But the wars are closing in on the big fights for Canelo Alvarez. Drop a comment in the comment section. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.